Brad Evans, our guy at Yahoo Noise, joins us right now. Fantasy expert, tequila connoisseur, man of a great backdrop of Denver there in his home. So Brad Evans joins us right now. Brad, let's start off with tonight's game. We got, of course, Tampa Bay right now getting 6.5, 7, depending on where you shop, against Carolina. Fantasy-wise, spread-wise, what do you like tonight, Brad?
Well, spread-wise, I like Tampa Bay and the points. I just got an email from PointsBet, and they divulged to me that 90% of the spread money is on the Carolina Panthers. So I'm going to go the opposite direction, try to fade the majority there. I think the Bucs are going to keep this thing relatively close. 2-1 against the spread in the last 3 in this matchup are the Buccaneers. So I think it's going to be a higher scoring affair as well. I know the trends say, 7 of the last 10 in this matchup has gone under, but I like the over on 49. I know it's a short week. I know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were wielding dull swords last week offensively. Jameis Winston he barfed all over himself into the box score. It was terrible. And Mike Evans was doing the same thing on the sideline. So I think everybody gets right. The props that I really like tonight, I love Christian McCaffrey, 60 or more receiving yards. I got it at plus 110. I think he gets in that 65 to 70 range. And Ronald Jones, I don't like the player at all. I think he's rubbish largely. But Bruce Arians came out and said, hey, we're going to give him the ball more. And Carolina couldn't stop anybody on the ground last week, despite the talent they have up front there. So it's only 50 yards rushing, and I got it at plus 106 for him to achieve that. So those are the props I'm leaning on. And I kind of like DJ Moore, too, depending upon where you shop. If you could find an over-under and take the over on 5.5 receptions, I think it could be 6 or 7 in his back pocket come game's end.
Brad, this is Jinx, man. I got to ask, what's going on with David Montgomery? I need an update.
Well, Matt Nagy has got his head up his posterior. That's what's going on right now. I mean, look, I'm sitting there on Monday night. Maybe I'm delirious. Maybe I had too much tequila. And I'm watching John Gruden feed Josh Jacobs. And guess what happened? Not only did Jacobs find the end zone once, he found it twice. And guess who won that game? The Oakland Raiders. So let me get this straight. If you give the ball to your most talented players, usually positive things develop. So my hope is Matt Nagy went to YouTube. He found Man in the Mirror, the old Michael Jackson hit, cranked it to 11, and just played it on loop all week long. And I just hope he had this epiphany and I don't know, maybe if I give the ball to Dave Montgomery 14, 15 times, we're going to steal a victory from the jaws of defeat in Denver. That is my expectation, that he's going to see at least double the workload. But do I honestly trust Matt Nagy right now? I don't. I do not at all.
Brad, one thing when we were introducing you and Tim was talking about all your accolades, the one thing he didn't say was you have a great shirt collection. I'll throw that out there. Every week, new great shirt. All right, Sam Darnold not playing. He has mono. No idea how that happened, why it happened. Out of the question, Brad. What I do want to know is what are you going to target specifically player-wise and game-wise in this New York Jets and Cleveland Brown matchup?
Well, originally I was on the Jets defense because I really liked the matchup between the defensive line and the offensive line, which was transparent, ghost-like for the Cleveland Browns in the opener against the Tennessee Titans, in which they got mollywopped. I mean, that was a whooping of epic proportions, but I've kind of peeled off that now. I think Baker can rebound in a major way in this game. I think Nick Chubb should be able to get the legs going because I think Cleveland can really command the clock, knowing it's Trevor Siemian, for crying out loud. Who, by the way, I think his favorite dinosaur is the T-Rex because everything is short arm for Trevor Siemian all over the place the last time we saw him on the field. That's good news for Jamison Crowder, the guy that had the lowest yardage yield, yet having the most receptions with that combination in NFL history in a single game, 14 for 98, 99 last week. So he is going to be a centerpiece for Trevor Siemian. So take all the prop that you can on the over on Jamison Crowder receptions, but dial it back for Robbie Anderson. Le'Veon Bell looks like he's scathed. any major damage to his shoulder. So he should be out there, pending practice reports tomorrow. So as long as he clears, gets that clean bill of health, he's obviously must-start material. And I think this is a big rebound game for Odell Beckham Jr. as well. And if you're looking for a real deep sleeper, Hollywood Higgins, who snipped the goal line last week, had a long reception. Maybe he crosses the chalk in this one. So this should be a get-right game for the Cleveland Browns, and we've seen it. The line got steamed. What was it, like 2.5, 3? It's up to like 6 or 7 with the Browns laying the chalk right now at many sports books.
Brad Evans joining us at Yahoo Noise on Twitter. And Brad, I want to make sure Matt Nagy knows that I'm going to make a change for once in my life. It's going to feel real good. Going to make a difference. Going to make it right. So just make sure he knows those words. Those are from Brad Evans to Matt Nagy. He
should have it memorized. He knows the words, guys. Man in the mirror. Come on, Nagy. Give the damn ball to Montgomery.
Now, I mentioned this earlier in the show, Brad. Your job, and Jenks agrees, is harder than a surgeon, a lawyer, anything like that.
That's my theory. That's not even a theory. I believe it to be true.
You are a prognosticator. And when you make a poor prediction, people are going to crush you. Now, you told us and the world Lamar Jackson should be a play in week 1, and he was spectacular. I enjoyed those fruits. So he's going up against Arizona at home. Do we keep rolling with Lamar, Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown? Do we just say, Ravens, you start this week?
All systems go. I mean, did you see the secondary of the Arizona Cardinals last week? Now, to be honest, they overachieved. I thought they played respectably well at times against the Lions. I mean, Kenny Golladay had a subpar effort, though. He did find the end zone. They held Marvin Jones to 60 yards. But TJ Hawkinson was setting NFL records, right? So it could be a great outing for Mark Andrews, a guy that went over the century mark last week. I think it's another 70-plus and a touchdown. He's got that established rapport with Lamar Jackson. Hollywood Brown's more of a crapshoot. I mean, he only played 14 snaps. And let's be honest, Miami would get blown out by Bethune-Cookman right now. So, I think it could be, 60 yards and a touchdown. He can do that on one play. I would maybe trust him as a wide receiver 3 or flex option in 12-team or deeper leagues. I'm more curious than anything else in this game to see what Kyler Murray does, because it was a house of horrors at home for him against this Lions defense for the first 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden, everything fell into place. Everything clicked, and he looked dynamite. That dime that he dropped deep to Larry Fitzgerald, from the heavens, it was a thing of beauty. So, I want to see when things snowball, when things compound in a negative way, how he's going to be able to deal with the adversity on the road. And this is going to be the biggest test of his life. So I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Brad, this is Jinx. You know what's funny is when I first saw your shirt, I could just see the top, and I saw Skeletor, and I was like, wait, is that Wasp? Is it LA Guns? Is it Slayer? And then I was like, it's actually Skeletor from He-Man, which is incredible that I had to figure that out in my head. So well done there. Secondly, Malcolm Brown from the Rams spelling Todd Gurley last week had 2 touchdowns, and I don't know what the Rams are going to do with Gurley, but is Malcolm Brown worth picking up because he could be that goal line guy for LA?
He is a true blue goal line gremlin.
Yeah.
He is the stripe in this backfield. There's no question about that. Look, here's the thing about Todd Gurley. He didn't see a single red zone opportunity at all. And it was the Malcolm Brown show. And, of course, Brown was highly efficient in that area, scoring those 2 opportunities. I mean, Darrell Henderson got a touch just outside the red zone instead of Todd Gurley. Look, if Todd Gurley is in between the 20s as a running back this year, that is extremely problematic for fantasy purposes. He looked great. I mean, he got 5.21 yards after contact per attempt over the century mark in total yardage, but 40.7% of his fantasy worth last season was tied to TDs. So if that scales back by a half or 2/3, I mean, you're looking at a back-end RB2. So I'll be curious to see if this continues for Malcolm Brown. I like Malcolm Brown more or less as a flex option. You have a high total on the board in the low 50s in this game. But there's no reason for McVay to suddenly change direction and give Gurley the ball inside the 10 when Brown, again, was so efficient in that area of the field.
He's Brad Evans. Follow him on Twitter at Yahoo Noise. And Brad, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change, my friend.
Do it, Nagy. Sit down. Mike Davis is sorry, button. Play my boy. I'm out of here.
Thank you, Brad.
There he is.
Thanks, Brad.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.